Good morning, party people. Welcome to the Breakdown podcast. Special episode today. We are very big fans of one of our new finds of last year, InVisions from the UK. We both loved everything we had checked out of them. We had checked out Dope. We had checked out, what was the first one called? Annihilist, and we checked out Deadlock.
Well done for you remembering a thing.
Boom!
Yeah.
Elephants never forget. So the lads are going to join us for a chat to talk about all things the band, and we're just going to have a chat and see what happens.
This is the first for a channel. We've done interviews before. We've never really just gone for like a long form conversation with people, and we feel like it's something that not many other like reaction channels are doing, and we want to offer you guys something a little bit different, and also give you an insight into the artists that we're sharing, because for us this is such a cool thing. We're so stoked to be able to share this with you guys. It's like an extra little tidbit, bit of extra information. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you? Are you gonna say something else?
Oh no, I was just going to say they're about to drop their third album soon, and we want to, like part of doing this is us trying to help bands as much as we can while still helping the channel ourselves. So we really want to try and help the band connect with their fans and really give them a push.
Help us, help them, help you, help us. Do you know what I mean? Alright, let's get started.
Just rolls off the tongue.
It's effortless, isn't it? Yeah. It's okay. Thanks for taking the time to do this, boys.
No, thanks for
no
having
worries.
us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, boys.
So what's going on? It's Saturday night there, right?
It is, yeah.
It certainly is, mate.
So how's the weather over there?
Oh, come on. Fucking hell.
I mean,
No, I just wanted them to hear. I just wanted to hear them say it's shit house because.
yeah, all right. It is trash. It is. I don't think it went above 1 degree today.
Fuck.
Yes.
I've said so many times to people from the UK, those who are watching, InVisions are from the UK. I've said so many times that the UK would be a great place to live in terms of the amount of like live music you guys get, and I'm a huge football fan, so English Premier League. But I don't know if I could handle the cold, man. Like I don't know if I could do that.
This is going to be a deal breaker right now.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We'll get this out the way because Nath doesn't do sports. So,
what's your team?
I'm a Gooner.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
If you want him to leave, I'll be more than happy with that. It's fine.
Come on. Look, I'm sure we can see through our differences as long as you guys don't support Tottenham.
No.
All right,
no.
yeah, we're good there.
Sweet.
We're good there.
Who do you boys go for?
Liverpool fans.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
that's an interesting talking point.
Yeah.
Interesting result yesterday, lads. 10 men, 0-0,
Yeah.
clean sheet,
One of the most boring games of football I've ever watched. I can't believe we didn't score. Yeah.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
Oh, I'm so with you. Fucking hell.
All
We
right,
shouldn't have mentioned it, really, should we?
Now, so the whole reason that this started, like the breakdown, was because we had a music chat, me, Johnny, and another mate, that I had to change the name to Just Jams, because every now and again, him and the other dude would just start talking football for like an hour and a half and just fill up the chat. And so I had to put a blanket ban. No, it's just jams, no music, no fucking football.
And also, he's a Man United fan, so you know that the shit that was going to come out of his mouth. Man.
Awful.
It was awful. You're right. So just jams.
Imagine just scrolling like boring,
Yeah.
still boring. Right?
Oh, I didn't even scroll. I just leave it and come on later on, being like, "Hey, here's a new song that fuck you guys."
I think it was actually the second chat because
I left one.
you left and started the new one for Just Music.
Good work. Nice.
Yeah, put my foot down. Hey, so I don't know if you guys have checked out, but we have to say you were one of our discoveries of the past 24 months for us. Where have you been? How have we not found you until last year?
Oh, mate, you tell us. No, it seems pretty crazy because it's weird because we were looking at our stats from when we released Gold Blooded and then to Deadlock now, and it's literally doubled. So the growth is being massive. obviously it's everything we're doing is paying off, which is absolutely unbelievable to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that the pandemic's got a lot to do with that? Because I mean, it seems that because no one had live music and everyone was stuck at home around the world, I mean, it just seems like everyone was just searching for new music. It's just one of the only things they had. Just give me entertainment, give me media, give me TV shows, movies, and music.
Literally, dude.
Yeah, I think the pandemic, like even outside of music, helped like a lot of people with their own business ventures grow. Like you see like people who stream on Twitch, that's grown a hell of a lot over COVID and whatnot. So I do think it has helped to some extent for sure.
Is he back?
Absolutely.
Have you got audio?
He's there.
Oh,
he has just messaged saying he is going to try and fix his audio. So I think he'll just be in and out.
That's okay.
But he's got a nice face, so every time it keeps popping up, it brings
very
impressive.
He's a handsome man. He's a handsome man.
I do enjoy his face.
Yeah,
that's a lovely thing to say about someone, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love his face.
That's it. A great face, mate. Yeah. In terms of what you're saying about how the pandemic's like helped, I'd say it's helped in terms of like we've done the same thing as a lot of other artists have done, and used the time wisely instead of just sitting and being sad, accepting that we can't do anything. And like we've obviously got like a belting album off the back of it now, like so it's benefited us in that way for sure. But then as soon as you take for granted all like the touring opportunities, like show opportunities, and pretty much everything in life. So like as soon as we were allowed to like actively start doing things, like again, we've just would like constantly looking for new streams and outlets that we can use. Like we've literally just created like a TikTok, like like what, yesterday, day before,
just today I think, mate.
Oh, today, like there we go.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to grasp everything now and like just really run with it. So
I think that's the cool thing that has come out of this last
welcome, by the way, Lucas
year.
What's good? Yeah, sorry about that.
I wasn't going to acknowledge you in case you dropped off again. I was just going to look at your pretty face, and then if you went, it's fine.
Yeah, I had to resort to the potato camera, so yeah, apologies about that.
That's okay.
That's all right. You're still more handsome than anyone here. So.
You should have said he's a real spud.
Oh, hang on, mate. You've told us you're a Gunners fan, and now you're blowing us like that. What's that?
Don't say that to Lucas. We've already been through this.
Lucas, mate, you've missed an absolutely thrilling section where they started talking about football, and I almost fell asleep. It was well good.
Oh, yeah, I love football. Football's so dope. Dopest dope I've ever not watched.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, Johnny can leave anytime. Now, what we were saying then is the fact that this pandemic has allowed so many other creative opportunities for bands, and I think you're right to capitalize on it by like jumping on TikTok or using this. Like reactions has become a thing which we didn't really expect. We weren't trying to be successful. We're doing it just because we wanted to talk about music.
The whole reaction thing it's one of like the most exciting things for us that we say a lot of releasing a single is seeing everybody's like reaction videos that come up on YouTube and whatnot. We literally love it, and it has now become a proper thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. We've had a few record labels recently reach out being like we see this as being the next stage in music journalism, and we wanted to kind of take it properly. So we're stoked to be able to do things like this with you guys, because you're in at the ground floor before things really take off. It's offering those opportunities, and for us, it's just fun. Like as I said, we had a conversation about music just between us as dickheads. To be able to share it with you guys now,
with other dickheads.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's crazy because we write the music and we're dickheads. So
yeah.
I knew we liked you. There was a reason.
It's just the dick club, innit? Like straight up.
Yeah, I did say this is a bit of a sausage fest.
This is a sausage fest. Yeah. So the third album is going to drop soon. When is the release date for that?
11th of Feb. 11th of Feb.
Ooh, soon.
Yeah, 4 weeks away, I believe.
Yeah,
and it's just like snuck up all of a sudden, which is fucking mad. But
and you had 3 singles off it. Gold Blooded, is that going to be on the album?
No,
it's not.
That was just a bridge track, really.
Yeah. We try and release like a song in between albums because, like, basically the rule we have is we have to release something every single year. Like there should never be a year that we've not released something, and that's kind of what Gold Blooded was. It was it's the first song from the writing sessions for this record, and it kind of set the bar of like, oh shit, all of a sudden, we can write good choruses, and it's like it's got to be this kind of like got to
Hey,
keep
the
up,
old
like
stuff.
hit this bar.
The first two albums have great choruses. Like, I mean, I've been listening to them quite a bit lately, and it's not like you guys didn't have your chops sorted when you started this band. It's not like, I mean, obviously you've progressed, but what do you guys personally see as the biggest thing that you've sort of expanded on, or the biggest areas that you've improved on this upcoming album?
That's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think we'll all have like our own like individual bits. So for me, it's like the new like style of, I say it's new. We have used it before, but not this consistent. So like the harsh singing sort of pitched gruff vocal thing,
Raspy kind of shit.
Yeah,
Ratty.
No, raspy. Raspy.
Oh, I thought you said ratty. Fucking Ratatouille on lead vocals.
Ratatouille.
But yeah, it's a whole new style for
world.
me, and it's shut up, mate. And it's
He's having a Aladdin moment. Leave him. It's fine.
And it's trying to technically just learn a whole new vocal style, which I'm still trying to figure out now.
Mate, I have to say, and we have said in our reactions, your vocals are some of my favorites that are out in the heavy scene at the moment. I think and that's one of the things that with your band as well, there's just so much diversity in every song. There's never a consistency there. And like, I mean, it's a genuine reaction every time when like a new vocal bit comes in, where both is like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. That's such a cool thing. So yeah, kudos to you for that. It's rad to see that.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
What's
It's super cool, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
when we go into when we go into the writing and stuff like that, I think a lot of the time it's like, always down to try new things, and that doing that kind of like push vocal, it matches the intensity of all like the scream verses. I think that was the biggest thing for us. Like, particularly in core, you can get that thing where it comes to a chorus, and everyone goes like, and like I think for us, we want it to get to the chorus, and people will go, "Fuck, I want that chorus again," as opposed to like
100%.
let's get that over and like, but yeah, no, it's super cool. Ben's just like a toy. You literally wind him up and say, "Try this," and he does it better than anyone else. And then he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that." Fucking hilarious, mate. Honestly.
It's not just that. Like, it'll also come back to like the next practice. Like, what was the most recent endeavor that he's taken on? He's like, "Oh, I can do something now," and like made this weird. I'm not even going to try to do it because I can't do it. And he's like, "It's called Mongolian throat singing." Mate.
Oh, is that like that band The Who? Or
Yeah.
the Heart, or whatever they're called? I don't know how you say it.
It's that deep throat.
Oh no, hang on.
Yes.
I like that is a genuine, like, wait, let me figure out that thing I figured out how to do. Like, yeah.
It's fucking nuts, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it's
fun.
sick. It's sick.
So who's inspiring you guys when it came to this album and writing it? What was the big inspiration for you guys? Did you have influences? Was there something there that set you off? Obviously, there's a lot of people writing about the pandemic and how that affected them. What set you off for this album?
We were already kind of like started writing the album, but I think, for us, like a lot changed during the pandemic, being locked up and like, not really knowing if you're going to get to do the thing you love again, trying to figure out who you are without music. I think that was the biggest thing for all of us. Like, that's where the title Deadlock comes from, because we're kind of sat there going like, fuck, what happens if we don't have this thing where this is our, like, our chosen career path. This is everything that we've put all, the last 5-6 years into.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it wasn't necessarily about the pandemic. It was just about trying to find your place in the world if that part of your identity is gone. And I think, when you kind of, I think it was early days, when we started actually writing, it was like only like the actual pandemic hadn't even really kicked off because we were already writing in March, and that was when like the UK completely shut. It kind of changed throughout the process. But I mean, like, yeah, it was definitely a bit of a strange one, but I think a lot more reflective. And I think as people, we've changed and grown up a lot since the last record, and that's kind of coming through with this album. It's a bit more introspective and trying to figure out who we are and what we actually want, as opposed to just kind of being like balls to the walls. We've got energy and we want to drink beers.
Yeah.
Still want to drink beers, but
You still have the energy to go with it.
But in a way more grown up way,
Yeah.
We're tired of drinking beer now.
In bed by 10:30. Yeah, right. So, any surprises for people? Like, are there any things that are going to be on the upcoming album that fans of the band are probably not going to expect?
Ooh, go on, Ben.
Oh, that's
It's the Mongolian throat singing, isn't it?
well.
There's
to
an
be
entire
fair,
track 3 minutes long just that.
I think the main thing that's probably going to be a bit of a shock is that they're going to probably connect this album more than the rest on more of like a personal term, because it's wrote for that reason, for people to connect to in whatever situations they've had or been through. And our past albums have just been like heavy, fast breeze, like all the time and whatever. But this one, I feel like it's more of it could probably hit more personally, and
It's a bit more like it's got a bit of a better shelf life. I think, heavy music and stuff. It can be very much like, yeah, cool, that's a nice heavy song. Bored of that in a week, we move on to the next one. Like, I think we listen to a lot more classic albums, like Bullet and Kill Switch and stuff. And we wanted to write stuff that had that emotive impact where you walk away going, "Fuck, that song just did something for me." You know what I mean? Like the stuff that 6 months later or a year later, you're still going to go back to it because that song has that moment with you that you associate to your own. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily written for you, but it's associating you. You find your own space in that song. I think that was the kind of goal on it. We just wanted to make something a bit more timeless as opposed to, one and done. Which is
That's it, mate. And like looking through the YouTube comments and stuff today as well, like you said, everybody takes each song regardless of the meaning, what it is to us when we write that. Everyone has their own story and everyone like relates in a way to certain things. And like one of the comments I read today was, you literally put like my words into music. And cool. I really, really appreciate that. And it's like that kind of shit is awesome,
There's a line from a Fall Out Boy song that I love, and it was just like, I can write it better than you ever felt it. And I think I never really understood that, but that's exactly like how and what good music can do for people is you're
Absolutely.
able to write a thing that they didn't realize that they were feeling, and then you're like, oh fuck, that's exactly it. So that's, that's a real compliment.
That approach that you guys have got about sort of trying to have that, that timelessness with the music is, like when you just said about being grown up drinking beer. I mean, like just having the sort of the motive to sort of be able to look forward, because like I reckon heavy music's going through a massive renaissance at the moment, and I think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic and things like reaction channels and stuff like that. Everyone was sat at their computers, TVs, phones. I think heavy music's going through a huge renaissance, which is fucking awesome. It's so sick for people like us. But I also think you need to be careful that you're not just jumping into doing exactly what's hot right now because it's hot right now, and sort of trying to create something that is going to stand the test of time. Because I mean, for me personally, that's why scenes like nu metal and then the screamo emo scene died out. It's because everyone was like, this is hot shit right now. I'm going to fucking jump straight on that and do everything everyone else is doing right now. And, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the track, everyone's like, I don't give a shit about 90% of these bands.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
I think it's like they say it's difficult as well, isn't it? Because like when you're drawing inspiration from older things, it's weird because technically it's kind of dated, but I think those things are always like they hold the true classic. Do you know what I mean? Like say like the in the moment stuff. There's definitely massive trends, and it's usually whatever Bring Me the Horizon did 10 minutes ago. And
yeah,
I'm fucking here for that, mate. Like Bring Me a Crush in it. I think I don't know. You grow up learning to write a certain way, so to all of a sudden try and jump on something. I think if we tried to jump on what was popular right this minute, it would sound like ass because we've as a musician you cater your ability to one particular thing all the way through. So to suddenly like U-turn, you're gonna have to start again and build up to like that quality level. And I feel like that's what this record's been for us. Like we've gone through. This is obviously the third record with the 2 albums to be able to get to this point. It's a bit of the first album, it's a bit of the second album, but then it's just so much more. And that's kind of like it's just refining, in it. You're not moving forward.
They say you've got your whole life to write your first album, and then you feel like the pressure afterwards. Do you feel at all, because you said like at the beginning of this chat, like it's taken you guys a little while to be found on a bigger scale? Has that alleviated any pressure from you guys writing this? Because you've already been able to like kind of hone your sound, find your chops, and then work towards this. Now you're on a third album. You've already got a back catalogue to draw from, but then you can also kind of like be creative and continue to grow without the pressure of having that. Is that a good thing, or is that something that's been frustrating along the way?
I think that the saving grace with the writing procedure of this album is the virus, because when we released Gold Blooded, we never actually played it until this year. In fact, until, was it last week? Well, not last week, our last tour. And we've been back from tour for a minute now. But
Well, we had like
want
two standalone shows in it, but pretty much that.
We didn't want to write an album and then release it through a lockdown where it wasn't going to get toured or the push that it deserved, really. So I think it was
It's a smart time.
Yeah, so it wasn't as much pressure as there would have been if there wasn't the pandemic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it gives you time to really make sure that it's right, as opposed to being like, when you're touring, like, you know, so when we wrote a second album, we were playing shows all the time. It was like writing in between that, and it wasn't like we didn't have to. It wasn't like, oh, we're tied to something. We were just doing it anyway. But I think because we didn't have all the time in the world to sit there and revisit stuff, so like technically, it, you know, you don't cut corners, but like this record, we didn't have to do any of that. You know, we could sat there, like, we rewrote a chorus 9 times. Or we're like, that's good enough to be on the record. And you know, that's the way it should be. We kind of like got that thing that you said, you have forever to write your first record. It felt like we got that again. It felt like we got that moment to go, okay, yeah, dude, like we had, you know, we've released 2 albums, like you say, we've got the chops, like we know what we're doing. I don't think we were ready to get any kind of attention like, you know, we've started to get until now, because we spent those 2 albums figuring out what the fuck we want to do. And now we're like, okay, we've had this time to rebrand the band and bring the band back with like, this is where we want to be now. Yeah. And I think it's a great thing for us, because, you know, it's worked out great. You hear the album, and I think personally, it's fucking done us a treat, but you're never going to get that ever again.
If you think about it, when we were writing our first album, from the time of us releasing our first track to then recording the album and then releasing it, it wasn't in the same time scale as Deadlock. I think we've had more time on Deadlock than we did the first album.
Definitely.
Yeah. First album, we started the band within a week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because
it's
Lucas and Ben, you came off the back of other bands, didn't you? And that's how this started.
We all
of us did. Yeah. So
okay, yeah.
Lucas and Al were in a band together, and then me and Josh were in bands, but we're in separate ones. And then where Lucas and Al's band split up before mine, because
I've been out of the game for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And then when I don't know when your band broke up, Josh. I can't remember when that was or whatever. But to be fair, we didn't really know Josh at all. It was our producers that put us in touch with him. And we were already in the studio recording and whatnot. And then we were like, right, we need a drummer because we need to do some music videos and play some shows. And they mentioned Josh. So we met up in Leeds with him. And it went from there.
Like the best thing that ever happened. Like, we literally went into our producers, recorded 1 single that we'd never even released because we'd already broken up by this point. That was the best song we'd ever done. But like, this
is your previous band, yeah.
Yeah, previous band. Yeah. And then but because of that, obviously, like, he was aware who I was, then put me forward to these guys, and then, you know, in good old InVisions fashion, we met up for a beer, and then here we are.
Yeah, 4 million pints later.
But now they're adult pints, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So you guys sent through the album ahead of schedule to us. Thank you for that. I've noticed the singles aren't as like higher up in the track list as you would normally expect as being like the first 2 or 3 songs. They're later on the album. Was that a conscious decision? Johnny and I were discussing recently how Adele demanded that Spotify take off the shuffle button for her album, so people had to listen to it in order. How do you
like that?
See, I'm with you.
I like that.
I think artists, it's artist prerogative.
I think if the artist is good enough that the fans love and respect them enough, then they'll actually listen to the album start to finish. But they should get the opportunity, if they want, to be able to listen to it in whatever order they want, because everybody has different moods.
Artists, tell us your thoughts.
I mean, options are nice, but at the end of the day, like you pick a track list for a reason. I mean, not necessarily every album has that, but I think for us, it's the first time we've got an album where it feels like a bit of a journey, and like
Yeah,
particularly
cool.
the last 2 tracks, it's like it just kind of rounds it off. I think. I mean, it's weird when you have an album, like we can see from statistics, like people could generally kind of tail off towards the end of an album, and that's like a usual thing. So I think for us as well, if you're releasing singles, putting those first whatever singles right at the start of an album, you end up being, so someone's like, yes, release date, album, but press play on the first song, heard that, heard that, heard that.
Yeah.
That to me kind of feels a bit like it doesn't suck you in. Hearing something completely new and a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 songs, and then being like, blasted into an old familiar, all of a sudden it makes a bit more sense in the bigger picture. I think that was kind of the goal.
I don't know if you guys caught our 2021 Wrapped, but we had quite a few people sort of sit there and go, "Oh, I'm surprised that like Spirit Box and Imminence and some of those albums weren't in our top albums." And for me personally, that was the reason. It's because like I put it on and I'd heard half the album already. So I as much as I don't feel like you should stop people having that option to shuffle an album, I personally love the journey because I do connect with bands. I connect with heavy music so deeply. And I kind of lost a little bit of that connection because I was so familiar with the songs. So
yeah, man. Particularly if you do like a long album campaign as well. So if it's like a 6-month as opposed to like the standard kind of 3-month thing, by the time the album comes out, you're like, oh, finally. It's not like I'm anticipating this. You're like, oh, like cool, I can go listen to that. But if 6 singles or whatever come out and it's a 12-track album, you've listened to half of it, so you've kind of lost that integration.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that, mate. Totally with you.
I think that maybe I think that the whole lockdown pandemic thing has a lot to do with that as well, because I don't necessarily think that people would have been able to give the attention and time to something like 6 singles as they normally would. There has so much time on their hands. Like that's why you're smashing these singles. But in a normal, if it was still like it was when the world was normal, I don't think you would have necessarily been as familiar with all of the songs. So it's kind of a situational thing as well.
That's it. Like at the moment, during COVID, think a bit more like last summer, particularly for the UK. I know things are still a bit mental, aren't they, in Australia and stuff. But,
not as much as fucking people like Joe Rogan to make it out, man. We have a lot of
the media.
Yeah, that Joe Rogan can get fucked after that. Like we had so many.
I haven't seen that, but like I just see that tours are happening and they're cancelled, and then they're happening and they're cancelled, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Look, I said this to someone the other day. Yes, there's some shitty things happening. Yes, our government's made bad decisions, but I feel like every country around the world is the same because everybody's still trying to navigate this shit that we don't fucking know about. We don't know how this virus is going to change. We don't know how it's going to affect people in the future. So everyone's sort of still just trying to make the best decision. And often, I think to the outside, to the public, those decisions seem kind of knee-jerk. But they've obviously got experts that think that this is the right thing to do. And I also think that a lot of artists sort of take that duty of care on board and say, what if this tour is the one that fucking kills 50 people or 1,000 people? We don't want that on our conscience. So I think it's just really everyone's got to be a bit more accepting of just the gratitude of the situation, the gravity of the situation.
Mate. It's a strange time to tour. Like obviously we did our first tour in 2 years it was in December. And touring during COVID is crazy because at any point, obviously as a band, you invest a fuck ton of money into a tour. You've got a lot of outgoings before you even happen. And then, we were traveling as a party of 6. Every morning we're doing COVID tests. There's a 1 in 6 chance that the tour is cancelled.
Yeah.
That's it. And instantly you lose money. That's it. There's no, we can still retain this. Your deposits are gone, everything's. So it's like, I totally understand why bands are being very careful, particularly with a lot of like US bands who are scheduled to go to the UK in the first couple of months this year. But it's just crazy. It's so hard for, what would normally be like, oh, we've got an album coming out. Here's the schedule. You know exactly what's going on. Everything is so fluid that everyone's kind of there going, oh yeah, we'll pencil it in, but it doesn't really mean shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's been the weird thing here. Like you said, tours aren't really happening yet. At the moment, we're still navigating going back to general life. We have no restrictions. We're free to do everything normally, but the actual live music scene just isn't happening yet, which is pretty frustrating. But also, we have less deaths than most countries, so I kind of weighed up in like, well, people are not dying, but we don't have live music. Like, you got to balance that out.
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
A second
I
ago,
saw
we
it.
were talking about the releasing of singles, and I wanted to say something, but Johnny just didn't stop talking. But that was, we talked with the boys from Memphis Mayfire the other day, and they were discussing how they're just doing singles at the moment. They're releasing, like, they just released their 6th single, and essentially they're just going to continue to release singles until the album is out in full. And the beauty of that is because of this like playlist culture we've got going on right now with bands like with artists like Spotify, not necessarily promoting albums, but promoting playlists more heavily. I've seen you guys have got some features on some fairly big playlists. Do you think that's something
sure.
that has really helped your trajectory?
Massively. Like, do you know what? I tell you what, the reason our band even did slightly well in the first place is we got a Spotify playlist before Spotify playlists were a thing. Like, this is like 5 years ago. And there was like maybe 100,000 people on there, but there wasn't a lot of bands on there. And like, I remember we were just like, oh, I don't understand why this song's suddenly getting loads of traction. And so that, that was the initial thing that really helped our band kind of, just make a little bit of a name for itself, opposed to people who were in the same kind of circuit. It was just pure luck. Like now, we're really lucky that we've got an awesome team, like, and who are, awesome to have contacts at Spotify and can kind of help towards getting those things, make them happen. Because there's people sat on Spotify who just sat there waiting to find your music, and that's exactly what those playlists are. So they're a massive help. They can make a band.
Fully.
Those people at Spotify can, a couple of clicks, whack them at the top of them, all the playlists, and that's it. As long as the music's good, do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's a huge help. But I totally understand the single culture. I think Attila did that like a few years ago as well, because same thing. You can get the playlist feature, you can get maximized on all the streams and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when it comes out as an album, I think, like you say, you still get that thing. All right, cool. You're not necessarily going to buy a vinyl. You're not going to like feel inclined to like pre-order the album. But at the same time, if you're pushing it for single streams and stuff, you're kind of trading one out for the other. You're kind of looking for the revenue there, I guess.
How do you guys find that sort of thing has gone in the lead up to the album in terms of like pre-sales, in terms of like merch? Is that still something like, obviously touring is a big income maker for most bands, but how are you guys finding that without that being able to be there? Have you put more of an effort into merch and pre-selling these and vinyls and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think that if we were going to compare it from now until like say 2 years ago, it's grown massively. I remember when we did our first like little pre-order session packing for our first album, and we were buzzing. Like we had like, I don't know how many there was, maybe like 100 pre-orders we had packed out, and they're all like spread out everywhere. But and then seeing the growth from there, it's been crazy. And in terms of designs, I do feel like we've always said that it's still InVisions, but it's like a separate business, so that it's got to still look cool but still be to do with the band. And I do think this time round it's we've stepped it up, and we've got more items as well, which has obviously helped. And then we've never done vinyls before, so obviously that's helped as well.
Cool.
And vinyls seem to be making like a massive comeback over like the last few years, so it was something that we needed to do anyway.
Yeah, the vinyl's been massive, hasn't it? Like it's completely bombarded out. Like we've previously done loads of CDs and we sold loads of CDs, but I think that's literally because that was the option. Whereas this time round, because there's vinyl, CDs are not necessarily getting a look in comparison. Because but I do actually have them right here, so I can show you one if you want.
Oh, damn! A little exclusive.
Put a couple aside for us.
It's such a shame you're using your really good camera as well, mate.
Actually, yeah. Look at these CDs. This is our 2 years worth of work on a potato.
My favorite part is how there's like not many pixels. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Spudlock.
And I'll be backwards and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All sorts of great shit on there. But yeah, it's just nice. Like when you finally start getting the physical products and all the merch and stuff through it, it suddenly feels fucking real, which is sick.
So let's talk favorite track of the new album. I'm interested. What's
Pick your
everyone's
favorite kid.
track?
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to kick this off because the boys are well bored of me talking about it. But it's Inertia and Fall With Me, the last two.
Cool.
It's I think that one really sets the tone for the album. Even though it's like at the end, it's like one of those bits where you're like, wow, I need to listen to it again. And for me, it's just like for like the vocal performance on my behalf, it's one of the songs that I feel like I performed quite well on, and it's just as much as I love the track, it's like a proud one for me as well.
If that's you being proud of a track and the other two haven't got to mention from what we've heard so far, I think we're in for a treat.
So yeah, then one Inertia and Fall With Me.
Boys?
Nice. I'd say Last Light is definitely up there. But again, Annihilist, like, you know, it's already out there as a single. Like, everybody watching this is going to like be like, oh, well, yeah, of course he's going to say that. Like, he's trying to push it as one of the three. But no, it's just so fun to play. Like, it's massive. Like, it's just so jumpy. And anything that's continually fun, start to finish.
Yeah.
And like each section that you look forward to, like, you're playing something, having a sick time, and then the next part comes. And you're like, oh, I can't wait for this. Because it's like a little self-challenge, you know? You're like, how fucking sick can I play this right now?
Yeah, cool.
Let's find out.
That was the first track we heard, man. We were, as soon as we heard that track, we were in. We were just like, fuck yeah, this is a band that we're gonna love.
No, I appreciate it.
Al,
what about you, mate?
I would say favorite in terms of fun to play, Dope. Just because it's quite easy to play on guitar, but it's like, it's so satisfying to get really tight. And then obviously you've got that just ridiculous breakdown at the end, which is but in terms of like actual favorite track, like I've said on a couple of interviews, like I can't pick one because it changes every week. Like as Ben said, how proud he is of Fall Me. Like I think so proud of every single track. Like honestly, couldn't pick a favorite.
It's a very diplomatic answer there, isn't it?
Everyone is equal.
Yeah, they're all fucking sick.
They're all insane.
What about you, Lucas?
I really like Half-Life. It was one of the last ones to get finished, and that was the one that we rewrote the chorus 9 times. I didn't know if it was gonna make the cut. It was one of the first ones like I wrote for the record as well. So it was like the longest life on the shelf, and then as soon as it was finished, it was like, yo. And it's also well fun to play on guitar because it's just really difficult, and gotta love a challenge.
Nice. We've got only a couple of minutes left. Do you guys want to keep going? Like, do you want to start another one?
I can.
Absolutely.
I'm down to keep going. Yeah.
For sure.
Give me a sec. I'll end this using the magic of technology. We'll just be back on screen in a second. I'll send you guys in the link.
Nice one.
Yo.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yo, what's good, guys? You all right?
We're good.
Technology, man. I'm figuring it out.
Crazy.
We're
Yeah,
old,
baby.
remember?
Yo.
I say we're old. I'm old, remember?
How old are you guys?
I'm 27.
27.
I'm 20. I'm the oldest. I'm 29. 30 this year.
Young guns.
Babies.
Yeah. Johnny's just about to turn 62. It's crazy.
I'm fucking turning naughty 40 this year.
Fucking hell, mate.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
props to you. You're clearly using some good moisturizer.
Legitimately old. Oh no, there's a filter on this.
Yeah.
When the filter goes, we look
This is adult beers.
Yeah, Lucas is the youngest, but he's the dad.
Weirdly, Johnny is a dad, and he's still not the dad of this group.
Vibes.
See that, Nath, when you're telling him off every time, when you're just like, I'm just going to let you go off on your tangent. I'll just chill until you finish. Like,
It's not our first rodeo.
Don't encourage
I've
it.
been doing this for a while.
We've been mates for over 10 years. Like, what happened? That's the funniest thing is, hey, he's back. Spud.
Don't say that until he's back on for at least a minute, because he might drop out again.
No, that's the thing though. Like when people say, "Oh, you know, like I really like you guys banter and the friendship you have," it seems so genuine. I'm like, no, this is literally how it is all the time. It'll be me doing something fucking dumb or overstepping lines, and the young one,
We're gonna
in the
bonus
group,
cat in the situation.
woo,
Love a bonus
and
cat.
him having to pull me into line and say, "Shut up."
When we
I love
first
it.
go,
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say I love it because I have the same retarded brain. I would just fucking go on for out. Like these boys come out, it's like I just say the dumbest shit, and I'm just like, oh, what about this and this? And like,
when we first started like getting a bit bigger, people in the comments be like, Nate's so mean and Johnny's so funny. And McGee, who's our mate that does the editing for us, he's like, I don't get why people like Johnny. Why do people back him up? It is a very, very loving relationship, but he does need to be.
People have said that way less now that they can see, like, oh, he is pretty funny for a couple of videos, but fuck, after about 4 or 5 in a row, I can understand why Nate's getting the shits.
And then when other people see the other side of it as well, when like we're just being dickheads together, they're like, oh, he's more like Johnny today.
All right, so back into band stuff. Enough about our friendship. Let's question: are bass players becoming obsolete?
Oh, that's a big question.
It appears that way.
What's the story? What's the story there?
We had a bass.
Hours left.
Yeah, we had a bass player for like. Well, we had a bass player and a standing drummer for the first music video we ever shot, which is Unbreakable. Just because we wanted to start releasing music, there's no point in us like not whilst we were finding permanent members. And the bass player, he was kind of half into it. He was like, interested in joining, but he just kind of was like, yeah, it's not really for me, to be fair. And I think after that, we were just like, we're not opposed to the idea of getting a bass player, but I think for us, like you just talked about, your guys' friendship, it's exactly the same for us. We're all best mates. Like, it's about choosing someone you want to be in your family. And that's like, the thing for us, because we have such a good dynamic. There's never any like beef. Everyone's like just gets along. It's more than just going, okay, so is this person willing to put like, the same amount of effort in as we do, the same amount of time? Do we get on with them? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they good enough to play the parts? It gets sorry, just move this fluff.
Me too. Hang on.
Yes. So yeah, I mean that was always the kind of premise. It was like, I think, we're going to say this right now, but I in no way, shape or form think that because Periphery do it, it's okay for us. But because Periphery do it, it's okay for us. But they're fucking well talented, so it's all right. But yeah, I think that was the kind of thing. At the end of the day, now we have an extra seat in the band, which is sick.
All that leg room. It's funny that we have said that recently. There seems to be an actual trend in bands that have been like blowing up and doing really good things, like Normandy and Future Palace. And what did we watch yesterday that had one the day before?
Well, Against the Current don't have a bass player.
Yeah, Against the Current there was no bass player. We're like, people just like, we'll just program that one in. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, we saw it on tour. To be fair, the guy that was driving us, he was like, kept coming up to us like, these guys don't have a bassist either. These guys don't have a bassist either. And it was like, it was a really common theme. Like nobody was having a bassist. But like,
I think maybe like now everyone just probably wants to play guitar because it's more strings. You get to play Architect's riffs, so it's well fun.
But you know what? In defense of bass players, I will say, because like my brother is the bass player in my band, and he's a really good bass player. It's hard to find good bass players. It's hard to find bass players that want to be really good bass players and not just be able to play the same fast riffs a guitar can play.
Oh, for sure. Like, I think it's difficult in it as well, particularly in metalcore, to find a bass player where, if they are a really good bass player, where that kind of technical ability or that kind of influence actually works into the band. I think obviously Sky from Issues is one of like the most unique additions to a band because he's such a good bass player and it works so well in Issues without it being like, oh, this guy's really good, so we've got to get him to do something. His addition to the band and his actual like flavor really like worked.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, like our original bass player, he's an incredible bass player. He's a mint at slap bass. He plays loads of like I don't know if it's like ska and reggae and stuff. Like he's in a band now called Street Soldier. I'd go check him out for you. It's pretty intense hardcore. But yeah, no, it's a really strange thing. Like you say, there's a lot of bassists, I think. Well, I don't know if this is the situation anymore, but when we were at school, when we were like playing guitar with anyone and everyone who had a guitar just because he was interested.
That wasn't that long ago for you, was it, mate?
I mean, nah.
Last week.
You need to talk about things that are relevant to us. School didn't exist when Johnny was a kid. That's how long ago.
Oh man, literally straight out the coal mines.
Seriously. It's how he's got such beautiful skin. It's all the colder. It's an interesting thing though, because like you mentioned, like a hardcore band like Turnstile. One of their things I think on the new album is that it's so bass and groove heavy, and they've obviously made that a prominent thing. When it comes to writing stuff with you guys without having a bassist, is that something that you guys? Obviously, you don't neglect it, but what focus gets put onto that? If you go, well, none of us are actually playing the instrument, is it a like fundamental part of it, or does that like an addition just to fill out the song?
I tell you, interestingly, like the bass is one of the most complicated things when it comes to like mixing metal music. Anyway, like it is so essential. Like your bass tone makes or breaks an album, and you know what the bass is playing as well can also massively affect it. I think for us, it does have an impact, but it's not necessarily like, yeah. I mean, we probably wouldn't put a bass dominant section because I think at that point, not having a bassist would feel, you know, that would feel disingenuous. You know what I mean? If you're like going, oh, here's this like fucking amazing, like bass bit, and you're stood there going like, what the fuck's that about?
Like, bears are standing around waiting.
Yeah, everybody just looks left to the track and they're just like, you're so good. Do you know what we should do? We should do that, but then as soon as it comes on, we should all get out fucking air basses and just like
you gotta play it super high too.
Yeah, literally, like all at once, just like, you know, like fucking that Ned Flanders band, wouldn't it? All break into some.
Oakley, Dokley.
Yeah.
If we see you guys, you don't have a air bass bit now, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Just letting you know.
Oh yeah. Sorry guys, we'll have to postpone the Australian tour. We need to practice our synchronized bass play.
If you can.
Hey, so we've obviously worked out that you dudes are super tight. I'm going to test the friendship. When you're on tour or when you're in the jam room or the studio, most annoying person with the most annoying habits. Let's go.
Yeah, to be fair, like I think we're all equally quite annoying.
We all have a different ticks.
I do think I'm a bit more of a prodder, to be fair. So I'd say
you stoke the bear.
Yeah.
The bear being Josh.
No, but like if we're ever in our group chat or whatever, and anything's said, let's be honest, the person that stokes the fire is not in this call right now.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Our photographer Chris Greaves, he's been with us since day one. It's like he's in our band group chat, you know, like he's part of this band, like he goes and does everything with us. He is the funniest guy you'll ever meet. He's like, hopefully we'll come to Australia and you'll meet him because you'll be like, fuck me, who is this? What is a Chris Greaves? It's amazing.
Hopefully, mate. We will be there and you will see just how much of a unique, fantastic human being we have. Like, I say we have as though we own him. Like, you know what I'm saying though? Like,
it even gets to the point to like the way he walks.
Yeah,
it's different to anybody else.
That's it. It's everything. It's funny, but it's a lot of it's unintentional. It's a bit like. Have you seen An Idiot Abroad with Ricky Gervais?
Oh, don't say Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, it's like if Ricky Gervais had discovered Chris Greaves before Carl Pilkington.
Isn't he he's just one of the greatest humans to ever walk on the planet, Carl Pilkington. Incredible.
One of those unique individuals. Not to say the greatest.
Chris doesn't have like the whole dry, like I hate everything outlook on life like Carl Pilkington does, but I think what I'll say in there is like he is unique enough to have his own TV show. Like this last tour that we just did in December, like we obviously all known him for years. We just discovered that he can play mouth trumpet very well. And like it sounds like recording studio quality. It's phenomenal.
Amazing.
So we had trumpet renditions of every single metal song you've ever heard the entirety of the tour. It was spot on.
New album coming out soon.
I think like in terms of if we're keeping it in the band, I definitely think I don't think I'm annoying, but I haven't got a filter, so I'll just say anything and whatever.
You're You're brutal, mate. You're brutal. Like you
Yeah.
call it as you see it. And if someone's ticking you off, you're savage. Then I'm like
Yeah.
Bandad. I'm like super stressed out. Like we need to be at the interview in time. We need to make sure we sound check.
And yet you were the one who couldn't quite get this to start.
Dude, yeah.
The irony.
Mate,
Literally.
it's gonna haunt my fucking dreams. I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I'm gonna
This
be
is
pulling out
literally,
fucking.
mate, before you got in there, Lucas, I was like, he's the one that's going to be most mad that his audio is having issues. Because of this reason.
Yeah, literally managed to record an album, can't go on Zoom and fucking get a microphone to work.
Yeah.
I relate. It's fine. My whole job is the
Dude.
internet. Like this is the fun thing. I work as like a social media guy, and I still don't know what I'm doing 90% of the time. It's fine.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, it's okay. We've all got our flaws.
I've got heaps of them.
You've got enough flaws.
All right, so
I think Al's the quietest, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say I'm the quiet one.
But hang on, but he's the quietest until he's had a beer.
He's Billy and Wallace as well, isn't he?
Al's the spiller.
Spills
Al's the spiller.
everything.
It's actually a really sad story. I was like kind of born with a condition where I'm just not able to hold a drink.
Hold on to a beer.
So sorry. to hear
Or
that.
anything that has
Yeah,
liquids.
it's awful, isn't it? It's really, yeah.
You'd
Really
literally
sad.
be stood next to a bar and he would go put his drink down on this massive bar and still drop it on the floor next to him. And it's just like, mate, how have you done that? It doesn't make
It's a
sense.
skill.
It's even better when there's like MacBooks, chargers, like power packs.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah, that's my
Nintendo
favourite thing.
switches like in the van, and then it's like, oh, dude, look at that! Let's punch a beer.
So you've just prompted us to make new merch, to break down sippy cups, and we'll make one for him.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Please do.
Love that, mate. Yeah.
You'd literally save us so much hassle and money.
Yeah.
We'll make money and save you money in the same time. It makes perfect sense.
Literally, yeah, we're about it.
So you mentioned before about your photographer. When it comes to film clips, you guys have released 3 very engaging film clips. What's the thought process that's gone into them? We've loved them. They've actually been
Yeah, it's
awesome.
been really great performance.
Thank you. I think we've shot loads of videos now. So we've used Life is Art, who have shot all 3 videos. We've
Yeah.
used them probably from about like the 3rd video in our career. Like they're just great dudes, you know. They're always like, Dan is the kind of production manager, and like we have a great relationship with him. Like over the last year, I've just been messaging him constantly. We sit there, he gets equally as hyped about the concepts and the videos and stuff. So it's nice to have someone like that is, you know, he's like an extended part of the team. You know, he's dealing with loads of projects, but he's still got the time to be like, oh fuck, imagine if we did this. Oh, let's try that. Look at this place. And I think for us, because we've done quite a few videos, like we always find narratives quite hard. So we don't do a lot of like narrative based videos, because I think the issue can be is like, if it's not a unique idea, or if the budget not necessarily there, it just looks a bit shit.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
Yeah.
how many times have you seen someone running through the woods? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so we kind of like, well, just, you know, particularly with sound, we've gone for really just push the performance side of it, but everything's got to have like a unique like point to it. Like, and we're just trying to tick stuff off the bucket list. Who doesn't want to play guitar underwater? Who doesn't want fire? And have you ever played guitar in the snow? No, but I have now. Well, good.
Was it actually
That's it.
snowing?
And like,
Was it actually snowing?
Nah, it was like these huge industrial like foam machines.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. To be fair, we had to be quite careful with some of the shots, because we're like, we don't want this to like look like a foam party. Because if anyone notices, they're gonna be like, "It's not snow, bro. It's a fucking foam party." Yeah, and I'm like, shit. But,
Say, well,
I
you won't be
can-
invited to the next one either, you dick.
Can confirm it tastes fucking horrible as well.
my favorite part was like getting out of breath doing drum takes and then breathing it in when you're trying to draw air. It was sick.
Yeah, to be
literally,
fair-
it was genuinely really cold and tasted horrible.
Made
Yeah, it's like
the anxiety and the pressure make it look more real. Your believable performances, because you're really struggling.
I think it definitely helps that it was like blowing mad fans and stuff, so you actually were like shiver me timbers, as opposed to normally just like sweating your gooch off. And yeah, like video shoots are normally horrific, but that one was pretty chilly. It was a bit of a weird one.
Horrific.
Like, well, to be fair, we've put you through the paces in these videos. Like, obviously we were like underwater and stuff as well, but Ben always gets it worse than we do. Like, the dope music video, that was probably one of the, like, the more ambitious videos we've done, because he was locked in this tank and we were pumping. We bought this like new pump for this facility that we were using, and it pumps like thousands of gallons of water in seconds. So we were playing the track through, and this tank was filling up. And Ben's obviously there trying to hear the track, trying to perform to it. And we've put a ceiling on this tank, so he's locked in, like physically locked in this like watery coffin. And everyone was so hyped, like, trying to get a glimpse in the video where like me, Al, Josh are all there holding this hose from one tank to the other tank, going into this fucking pump, which is like kind of leaking. We're like, shit, this is gonna explode at any point. And then it's going into the tank, and everyone's so buzzing to watch Ben in it. Like, we was like, shit, we need to turn this off. Like, the director like came running out. It's like, turn the fucking tank off. And he's like, oh fuck, shit, yeah, probably turn it off. Everyone's just like, so engaged in watching Ben perform / die.
Yeah. His final performance.
Genuinely could have died. It was a very awakening moment, wasn't it? Like, don't let excitement let one of your best friends die.
At
one of those
point,
classic scenarios that you meet all the time.
would have gone out like a legend, though. Were you at any point? Were you concerned at any point, Ben?
Oh yeah, massive. Because like, so initially, like, we got there and the tank was full so that these guys could do their bits, and they heated the water up for it. But then when they took the water out so that I could do the shots where it was filling up, it was like ice cold.
This is in January in the UK in a warehouse, and it was snowing outside. And
it was so cold that you're trying to like perform, but try and catch your breath because it's so cold. And then when it got to like up here, I started like having like a panic attack thing, and I was like, and then that was it. Chris was just like, get him out, and it was awful. It was.
I'm going to go back and watch it now, knowing this, because I reckon knowing all this info, it'll give you a full different take on it, and I hope everyone else does too.
Yeah, the solo shots have been made like where you see it like rising like pretty fucking rapidly. Like you said, like the hose was like out of control because like you've got gallons and gallons of water traveling through at like such speeds. Like we were literally having to hold it sturdy, like so it didn't move too much. And like, yeah, the ones where it's coming up on him real quick, it looks pretty calm and collected in most of them, but when it gets way up there, know that your boy almost died. Like, it was bad.
Performer right there, just holding it steady.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Like, but it's all. At what other point in your life do you get to say that you've done that? I think that was it for like us with this album. Like, we were quite lucky to have a bit more investment with this record, where we were like, we kind of our band before this album. Well, I mean, still happening. We're not at a level where the videos look like they are. We're pushing ourselves to that next level. We're making all this stuff look, like where we want to be as opposed to where we necessarily are. And I think that was the kind of like goal. We went quite ambitious for a lot of this stuff to be like, we don't want to cut corners. Like say with everything, we didn't want it to be like, oh, we'll just do this. We're like, if we're gonna do it, let's do something that we're gonna walk away with like 20 years. Like, fuck me, do you remember that time that we played guitar underwater? Like, that's an amazing experience for us. Like, end of the day, that's a lot of the huge takeaways you get as being a musician, are those moments in life that you get so much cool moment points.
Even like regardless of what it does for you or where it ends up, like I think like being able to look back and say, no matter what, like, man, we're fucking proud of that. Like,
for sure, that's it. Like,
absolutely.
But yeah, it was definitely cool.
Well, so
not just music video wise, mate. Like, sorry, dude.
No, you're right. Continue.
Sure, cut him off whenever you want. Whenever you want.
not even just music video wise. Like, you get obviously people who don't understand like the dream of being in a band and like wanting to make that a career. Like, one thing that really pisses me off is when people say, "So what do you want to do?" Like you've got your standard like, "Oh, I want to be in the police. I want to be a fire," like like all that kind of shit. Like you're like, "I'm going to be in music." I'm like, yeah, but what you're really going to do? I'm like, well, that's really what I'm going to do. And like like you're saying, like the music videos and things like that, the bucket list things that like you would have like dreamt of doing like the whole time. But not just that, like touring wise, like, you know, around Europe and stuff, obviously, especially when we start like making our way to Australia, like America, Canada, Japan, all those like huge places. Like it's things that you would have never done otherwise, if you get what I mean. Like you would have never found yourself, where do we play, Slovakia or Slovenia or somewhere?
Yeah.
Like when would you randomly have just like taken like a month off of work and gone traveling Europe with your best friends? Like you
Playing
wouldn't do
songs
it, would
to
you?
people, like it's crazy.
Playing
Yeah,
music every
like-
night.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, I
It's
mean,
nuts, dude.
I've always said, like, you know, like obviously I've never played at the level you guys have played at, but even still, like looking back on playing music, and as soon as you hit that stage as a musician, whether it's a shitty little local gig to 10 people, or whether you're playing to 1,000 people at a bigger show as a support, or whether you're playing a festival, I think often as musicians, like we kind of forget that no matter what scale you've done it at, you're still doing something that literally 99% of people on the planet would never get to do, and look at us as being like, you know, look at musicians as like, wow, that's something fucking crazy. Like, and I think
Absolutely,
we
mate,
forget
yeah.
that.
It's like a dedicate your life to a kind of situation, because you know it's one of those things, you either got it in you or you kind of don't. And I think well, that's what happened, particularly with obviously the lockdowns and stuff. I think a lot of people who were in bands who were necessarily kind of like, you know, hanging on the teeter, a lot of bands, particularly in the UK scene, we've seen it, loads of bands just split up because people were like, do you know what, actually I spent 2 years without, you know, doing this, I'm good. Like, you know, I've kind of moved on. And I think, you know, for us, it just made it worse. You know, we're just there going, I wanted more than ever.
Yeah.
And like,
Literally,
you know,
mate.
we had like such a good taste in 2019. We played in like 13 different countries that I've personally never been to before in my entire life. And it's like,
Same.
yeah, well, that's it. We spent more time in Europe than we did in the UK, and well, in terms of shows, like anyway. And then to go to that, to be at home, we're like, fuck me, this is, you know, we need to be doing this. And that was it's a great feeling, and we're just gonna wait for it to all kind of happen again and go even larger.
So what are the touring
Absolutely.
ambitions? Have you got goal bands, goal tours that you'd like to do? Do you want to play the festival scene more? What are your ambitions there?
I want to play.
Festivals are definitely. Go ahead,
I
mate.
want to play Unify, mate. I want to play Unify. Unify
Yeah.
is sick.
Get the fuck over
Mate,
here. Let's do
Dude,
that.
yeah.
Dude,
I've
like
always-
I've been saying this for a long time. Like I've wanted to not even like just play a show in Australia, like go anyway. So if I could go and then with the boys and play shows, that is my ultimate dream. If I could say I've done that, then I'd be very happy. I'd be a very happy boy. That is my dream.
You said that on like day 3. You're like, oh, cool. So now we've written this song. We're off to Australia.
Literally, yeah. Literally, like, and obviously you've got like America, which I cannot wait for, and Japan and whatever. But like, yeah, Australia for me is the ultimate. Like, I'm buzzing the most for.
I've just had an idea, Johnny. While we're saying, we need to get this big enough so that we can then bring artists out.
That's what we need to do.
The breakdown
The
production.
breakdown.
Yeah.
The breakdown.
that's-
Hey, sign us up.
Yeah.
Put us on that waiting list.
I'm not being funny, guys, but you decided that on this podcast, so like we've got to be the first band.
Yeah. Oh, look, you guys would honestly be one of the first we would choose for sure. You guys, Normandy, Siamese. It'd be a bit
fuck me.
Bill, but
Fuck me, it'd be a good show though.
oh,
wouldn't
it'd be
it?
great.
Siamese are fucking unreal. Only just
Oh,
discovered
yeah.
those guys like a couple months ago, and like
Yeah, they're insane.
well good.
Yeah.
So in Normandy, mate. I
Oh mate,
took a-
yeah, unbelievable.
took a lot of inspiration from Normandy for to be fair, that album came out like probably halfway through like the vocal sessions for this album, and like that was another big eye opener. Like, oh shit, big choruses, you know, catchy hooks. Like that album
Bill's
to me
got
was,
such a great voice.
Yeah.
dude, like
Yeah.
that to me was like what I'd been looking for since That's the Spirit came out. I was like,
Yeah.
I wanted that kind of like huge hooks, like, and the lyrics were intelligent and smart. Like
Another
Nothing
big,
felt like it was-
Yeah, no bass player.
Just so many inspirations.
yeah, guys are like, yeah, you know, of my own taste. Yeah, I saw them at Slam Dunk a couple of months ago, and they were really, really good.
Yeah,
It's
look,
nice.
look,
I-
the,
I really
amount-
wanted to see him at Slam Dunk, but I got fucking hammered and lost. So I missed. Sick.
yeah, no, look, Siamese and Normandy are two of the acts that early on gave us some of their time doing stuff like this as well. And the fucking cool thing for me was that when, like, with both of those bands, when they've been touring and stuff, I've had people send me videos of them like watching both of those bands to say, you guys got me onto this band. I had, you know, like I've had guys from that band say people came up to us and said that they found us through you guys in other countries. And it's so fucking cool that we can provide, it's very weird, but provide that link between fans and bands like that. It's fucking awesome.
Dude, we literally had that with you guys today. There was I can't remember the name of the dude, but he was tagging us in stories, and I think you guys shared it as well. It was literally like I came across you guys because Nathan Johnny, like, you know, all of a sudden you guys started reacting to our shit, and we're getting some press coverage in Australia. So, you know, coincidence.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, 100%.
Nothing to do with that.
Hey, so
I do think the whole reaction thing does play a massive part, and we now actively, like, our manager like looks for it now as well, for like different ones, to try and get as many reactions as we can, because it does now play a massive part to a band's press release. It is massive.
It's just great for us, you know. We can't go play these songs half the time, you know. We don't know when the next show is necessarily going to be if things go crazy again. Seeing people experience your music first time, we've been sounding this album for a year or so, like, you know, through the process. So watching people react to the songs, it's amazing, because it gives you that, like, it reignites the fire of, like, maybe you've heard the song a million times, but seeing someone physically get the same thing or something more from a song that you do when you had that, like, moment of first hearing it is, it's a fucking great moment. I'm there, InVisions, Deadlock, Refresh, YouTube, every fucking 10 minutes, legitimately.
Mate, that's it. Like, you live through other people. Like, we've said it in like so many other interviews and stuff before, haven't we? Like, you sit on music for that long, especially with like the pandemic being like how long it has been, and like as drawn out as it has been. Like, there's a lot of time for you to reflect and listen to your own shit and be like, is this
any good? Yeah, dude, is
like,
this any good?
Like, yeah, like, is this like as sick as we think it is? And then you hear people like listen to it and you're like kind of hiding, and then everyone's like, this is sick. You're just like, thank you. Like, sick. I'm glad. Like, nice. Yeah.
You can definitely get into a hole, can't you? Which is
absolutely
a weird place.
How are you finding adjusting to that, like with because there's plenty of positives because of that, but there's also the negatives of seeing those not so great comments from time to time. How do you guys go with dealing with that sort of stuff?
Don't care.
Yeah, I love that.
Literally, like, there's you read some stuff, and at the end of the day, you're reading just somebody's opinion, and all the good things usually 9 times out of 10 will cancel out anything negative you read. You'll read something negative and you're like, cool, nice one, next. Just don't care.
Yeah,
that's a great ability to have that. That's not something that everyone has. So kudos to you for that.
No, and it is one of those things that somebody can read something negative. Like, say you've got an artist, they release a song, they see somebody's wrote a comment on it saying this is shit. That could like really like almost force them to stop doing what they love. And for me,
or
it's
change
like,
what they're doing.
Oh, exactly. And it's like, cool. If you don't like it, just why put anything anyway? It's like,
exactly.
It's just whatever in it. So like,
why give it your time of day? Absolutely.
No, I keep commenting on Johnny's stuff and honestly trying to get him to stop, and he just doesn't listen. It's
anonymously, you're open about it.
Johnny, I sent you another comment.
It's like posting pictures on Instagram, like, this fucking sucks, dude. Try again.
Shit,
it's just like,
angle.
You see a negative comment, and you're like, all right, thanks for the comment, but also thanks for the view.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, you literally get a view, you get a comment. Oh, nice one, you've engaged with this. Like, end of the day, I always say is music is subjective. So if every single person liked your music, then there would be no such thing as good music or bad music or taste, or there'd be no point in it. Because like, well, that's it. It's a person's opinion. If someone doesn't like it, then cool, that's fine. But you've got to have people not liking it for people to like it. So turn that with a fucking negative into a positive and jog on, butthole.
What have you got?
All right, so we're running out of time. The Zoom meeting wants to cut us off yet again. But so I put a post on my Instagram the other day saying that we're going to have a special guest, and for people to send in, we're going to finish with the important shit with a couple of would you rathers. If you boys are keen.
We love it.
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go.
Being they're my followers, they have very little tact. So we'll go a couple of serious ones first. Never listen to music again, or have to listen to your least favorite genre all the time.
Oh, Ooh.
Can
To be
we
fair,
ask,
like,
can we ask
if-
follow-up questions?
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's your least favorite genre and you have to listen to it all the time, 9 times out of 10 you're just going to get accustomed to it, and then like you're not hear it anyway. It's going to be playing in the background at the end of the day,
Yeah.
You'll
And
start to like it.
and you'll probably start to
Mm.
like it. So I'm going to
Yeah.
go with listen to my least favorite genre every
I would
day.
agree. Yeah.
And what's your least favorite
Yeah.
genre?
Ooh.
Oh, see, this is the thing. Like,
Doja
I don't know.
Cat.
I don't know. To be honest.
InVisions.
That genre.
I'm yet to discover like a genre that I like just don't go to, because I'm not like a picky person when it comes to music. So
The only one that stands out right off the bat to me would be like the most extreme, intense, like house dance shit. Like, you know, it's just like
Hard style.
yeah, so yeah, like a
yeah,
hard style thing.
heroin core, whatever you call it.
I'll probably just go with hard style, man. But yeah, I'd still probably listen to that every day rather than not listen to music.
You gotta have some
Alright.
music to play beer pong too, dude. You know.
True. Next one. Know your date of death or the cause of death.
Date.
Ooh. Nah,
Mm.
actually, yeah, maybe date, right? Because at least that way you can, do all your shit. But if you knew the cause,
Yeah.
imagine if it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get hit by a car. You're like, right, fuck me, so I'm never going outside then. And like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
Hey mate, like
Mm.
plenty of cars have gone through walls, mate.
well now I can't be inside either, dude. Like,
You're just gonna have to live in like a hot air balloon.
Yeah, true. All right.
Or live inside and just get up way up high, get into the attic. Like you'd be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
All right. Speak like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader for the rest of your life.
Speak like Yoda.
Breathe like Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Really?
definitely.
Absolutely.
I'd love
That'd
to
be
speak
fun.
like
That'd
Yoda.
be-
What a badass.
That'd be gangster.
You're
Yeah, but imagine-
doing your throat singing. You kind of sound a bit like Yoda that way.
Yeah.
Imagine anyone trying to have a conversation with you and everything you say just sounds like Yoda. They just walk away because they'd get sick.
hey, have you not heard our conversations outside the van after a couple of sherbet lemons after the show? Literally, we all speak like Yoda anyway. Yeah, like, ooh, a good situation will be had this very eve.
True story.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you rather have eyelids that are vagina flaps or a neck like a foreskin?
Neck like a foreskin because you can get it tattooed, and then you just like you got a saggy ass tattooed neck. That would be my play, I
I
reckon.
mean, I'm thinking that as well, because at least it's not as like great as it is. You could wear like a turtleneck, whereas you can't imagine like
You're already wearing a turtleneck.
a scarf or whatever. But I can't imagine wearing like a blindfold to walk around just because you've got.
But imagine if
ninja
you're
eyes.
like, I thought you would have gone foreskin neck in the UK because if it's cold, you can just pull it up.
You can also use it as a mask when you go into shops and stuff.
Yeah.
We started with shitty football talk, and then we
All right, the last one.
jokes.
We got one more. This is the important one.
hell.
Now, I don't know why someone would ask this, but now I'm kind of curious.
Johnny wrote this, by the way.
No, I did not. Would you rather, who would you rather kiss, Johnny or Nathan?
Oh mate,
What-
I don't know.
What?
I think there's
Can we-
I think there's pros and cons to both. Like if you're kissing Nath, you're gonna get a big cuddle, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then
Wow.
if you're kissing Johnny, you're gonna get a
You
couple
might
of
even-
laughs out of it. So who knows?
What's that say about
No.
your kissing?
Yeah. Are they going to go for experience or for looks?
Yeah, he's been kissing for literally 72 years. It's wild. You're getting older
That
as the
was-
podcast goes.
Yeah, I
on.
know. Yeah.
Well, boys,
That's
thank you
a
so
tough one.
much for taking the time to hang out with us.
Yeah. This.
Thank you guys for.
Thank you for having
Thank you,
I
boys.
appreciate it. Thank you very
And
much.
the album
awesome.
is
Thank
out
you.
Feb 11, Deadlock.
Yep.
Cannot wait
Yes,
to
sir.
share it with the world. We'll have you guys back on soon.
Anytime, guys. Great to
Amazing.
see you in
And
Australia.
then we'll have
soon.
you out here for the Breakdown
Yeah.
production tour.
Fuck
We're
yes.
there. We're
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
there.
Great.
Thank you for having us, guys.
legends. Take care.
Yeah,
Appreciate
appreciate this, boys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
See you
Take
lads.
care,
Catch you
boys.
later.
Nice.